the one, the only Sadie Chisum. Yeah. I feel like John Summit on this like little recording thing. Like he's like that big DJ or something. I don't know. Sadie, how you feeling tonight?
I feel good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing so good.
Good.
Yeah. It's kind of been a crazy day. I mean, so we're trying new things out on the podcast always. And I feel bad because I wanted my friend Hannah's podcast and she's so cute. And I'm out here, like I told Sadie, I was like, I'm wearing this t-shirt that says number one dad on it. Dad, you know who you are. Got the gray sweatpants on. I feel like I look like a frat dude, but
you're trendy.
Whatever. The vibe is there. The vibe is there. Before we get into our episode and all the things and introducing Sadie, story really fast. So a lot of my friends, like if you were at the podcast party, you know that a lot of the merch funds, like the revenue we get from the merch, is going straight to my trademark. And trademarks, if you guys don't know, are expensive for a girly pop like me. Like everything is self-funded. You know, we got sponsors, stuff in the works, you know, always trying to have more sponsors and stuff like that. And so I've been working with a girl to get my stuff trademarked. And we get to the point where it's like the government fee, which is, you know, $1,000. And to trademark two things, for me, I'm like, whew, that's a lot of my nail money. Like, you know, I'm like, whew, Dean's like, Morgan. And so I'm like, whatever. Anyways, today, you know, I got my taxes. I had to pay today. And then I get this message from her and she's like, hey Queen, just want to let you know that like someone is trying to file for your slogan, Keeping Up with Cash. She's like, if you don't buy it today, someone's going to be filing, like finishing their purchase this weekend. So I'm like, okay, swipe my card. Like this is my slogan, but my savings account is heartbroken. So I recently saw Tana Mojo, which all of these story times will be in my next solo pod, but she did say in her podcast that and she had to pay a ton of money for their name canceled. So I know I am nowhere on that front, but a little bit I'm like, I feel you, Queen, like, ah. But anyways, after my story time, we are here with my lovely guest, Sadie Chisum, straight from Evangel Valor, friends from college. You know, before we get into how we know each other, Sadie, can you just tell my listeners, you know, a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so, as she said, my name is Sadie. I'm currently getting my master's at Missouri State. And while I'm doing that, I'm a graduate assistant at Greenwood Laboratory School. And I'm also the communications director at my church. So, and while I'm doing that, I have a little side gig. It's called Sadie Design. Just a little way to make
plug it, Queen,
some extra money. Yeah. So, kind of fun.
Sounds like 4 jobs.
Yeah, it's and I manage a house, so you know.
You manage a house?
Yeah, here in Springfield.
So. What is that? Is that like on Airbnb or?
No, they wanted something a little bit more low key, so it's just I don't even know. I can't remember the website that it's on, but it's
She's
like for
but
a long
it's really
time.
Cool though. So
it's really awesome. It's the cutest house. It's like across from the mall in that neighborhood, and it's so cute.
Oh, that's a good neighborhood. I know exactly what you're talking about. That neighborhood is the best.
Yeah, it's so good. So yeah.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. Very cool. So Sadie and I were friends in college. We're still friends now. But you're 2 years younger than me, right? Mm. Yeah, we had a lot of in the same classes together. And I was like, this chick is so energetic and she's so cool. I like her. And we really clicked and bonded. Hopefully you feel the same way. I don't know.
I do.
She's like, this older girl just like would not leave me alone. No, it's fine. Sadie probably had like way better grades than me. Like somebody called Dr. Kelton. Like, but Sadie was a real one. And that's when I just knew I was like, okay, I really like her and had my back. And I just feel like you can always catch that vibe from someone when, you know, maybe you're not like super duper tight, but they still have your back. Like I just like respect people so much that are kind of that way. So I would say like that's kind of our origin story. I don't know if you have a different perspective at all.
No, I don't really. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, we just kind of vibed right off the bat.
Yeah,
I don't
really
even know, like, I don't even know what that, like, first instance was. I don't really remember that, but, like, we just always got along.
Yeah. But I feel like you're very fashionable, though, and athletic. And so I feel like, you know, I try to be out here. And so maybe that was part of the reason. I don't even know. Who really knows? But anyways, so Sadie had recently posted something on Instagram that I was like, oh, shoot, I'm fascinated. My heartstrings are pulled. I'm going to reach out to her and connect. And you want to tell my listeners what that post was?
Yeah. So this last summer, I found out that I have alpha-gal, which is kind of gross, I guess, if you think about it, but it's from a tick bite. So like that's very common here in Missouri. And so it's from the Lone Star tick, I believe. And so basically, if it clings to you for a certain amount of time, you can get tick diseases. I think it's considered a disease. But I found out that I have alpha-gal, and so it can last like from a year to however long. Like you really just never know how long you have it. It's kind of trial and error. And so this last summer, I just was losing a ton of weight, and I was bruising and rashing all over, and we just couldn't really figure out what was really going on with my body. And so went and got some blood work done, and yeah, sure enough, that is what happened.
Dang, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you had posted on Instagram kind of talking about your journey, and do you remember like kind of what you had captioned the post?
That's a really good question. It was only like 2 weeks ago, but it feels like
It'd be like that, queen.
so long ago.
Don't ask me what I ate for breakfast this morning. Like,
Yeah, same. So I'm trying to think back. I think it was just like, it's just been a hard journey. Like this last summer, I was kind of telling you about it last time we met. Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
That was not that long ago. Saturday, but I got sick this summer, so lost weight doing that. And then lost weight even more when I had alpha-gal. And so it's just kind of been like a mental struggle, a physical struggle for me. I'm not where I was. I was a college athlete. So, I mean, like.
Guys, and Sadie wasn't just like, I played ping pong, quote unquote, full time. I call myself a college athlete. Sadie was like starting point guard for the school. Like, she wasn't no like intramural queen. She was like scoring multiple points. Like,
we're lucky. I was just a point guard, you know.
She was like that guy. Like,
you're sweet. Yeah, that's really nice of you. That is so nice of you. So anyway, it was just a struggle, like seeing my body go through all these changes. I mean, after I just got out of college athletics. And so, like even now still, it's really hard for me to work out because I just feel nauseous all the time. I get sick, and like usually it does lead to throwing up. And that is like I hate throwing up. Like that is like one of my top things. Like I will do anything not to. And so like when I work out now, it just leads to that. And so it just makes me not want to do it. So, I mean, I'm just trying to get enough walks in, like to feel like I've been active enough. Like I've seen outside, and like, cause obviously I'm busy.
Seen the sky.
Yeah. Like I felt the wind blow, you know, like just everything.
What's it called? Like earthing when you like put your feet
grounding.
Into the ground. Earthing. I mean,
yeah. But I mean, we could call it earthing. That's totally cool too.
So trigger warning. So pretty much at the podcast party, we did a Q&A, and someone had come up and they asked me, like, if you were to do a mini series, what would you want it to be on? And I was like, you know what? I would really love to do how the mental I didn't know that later. How the mental really affects the physical. And when I saw Sadie's post, like if you're an OG pod listener, you know that we've talked about eating disorders and like my past and like my puking problem in the past, and how it's just like different than I feel like, you know, what a typical eating disorder may look like. And so when I saw Sadie's post, I really like resonated with it because I'm like, okay, I feel like our stories are different where we don't, you know, you're like I'm not saying you're an unhealthy skinny, but it's like because of this situation with this alpha-gal, like you're limited into what you're eating and it's making you sick. So because of this like unhealthy situation, it's a constant battle just to eat. And then always being nervous, like, am I going to throw this up? Am I going to be able to go in this airplane and like be okay? Like, and just having that have control of your life. And it's so annoying. It's just like the anxiety. And then, so really like, I feel like we have similar but different stories. And so trigger warning, this episode is going to be a bit deeper and just talking about our experiences and just talking about so much of how really the mental does affect the physical. And even a quote that I had found online was talking about depression. And it was saying, you know, our bodies are no separate. So our bodies are not separate from our mind. And so it's not surprising that mental illness does have an effect on the overall health of your body. For example, sometimes people have depression. It can come with headaches, fatigue, digestive problems, anxiety, upset stomachs, insomnia, all different things. And studies have been done too to show that good mental health can have a direct and positive effect on your physical health. So I've seen it with people when they're very, very stressed. I mean, that line that like stress can kill you. You know, you can get things because we're not putting the right food in our bodies, and we're also not taking care of our mind. Mm-hmm. And so just talking about like our experiences, you know, things we wish we knew, things that we do to cope. And, you know, hopefully it can be encouraging to someone who's listening, or maybe you've never heard of any of these things, or you have a friend that struggles with it and you don't know how to support them without actually you're offending them or something like that. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That's good.
But yeah, well, we can just touch on, I guess, high level mine really fast. I want to talk about youth eating disorder episode maybe around 2 years ago. And basically for me, I remember in 2020, I think it might have been like just the end of 2019. I was home for Christmas and I was literally just like eating something. And then I literally felt like there was a flap or something inside my throat that all of a sudden I had this gag reflex that was like never there. I never used to freak out or be weird or like anything about food or anything like that. And then all of a sudden it was like I would see dirty dishes and I would get so grossed out I would throw up immediately. Like it was just wild. It went from just being chill to all of a sudden smells. Like it's like morning sickness for me all the time. Like the joust, shout out EU. I would eat like the sauce with the chicken and I would throw up right away. Like it was crazy. And so my stomach was definitely inflamed. And so in my situation, I was never trying to be really skinny. It wasn't like an unhealthy thing where like I was like not okay with my body, but it got to a point where my stomach was so irritated that I was throwing up multiple times every single day. And at the time, I was also intertwined with a person and we were just toxic. And so anytime we would get in a fight, anytime he would do anything or say anything that was like upset me, I would get a text from him and I would throw up. And so there was just so much that, you know, and like this lasted for almost 2 years. So it was insane. And Sadie and I are joking around that I had like, I call it puke problem pants because whenever it was like the peak of the puking problem, I had these like high-waisted jeans and they were big on me. And now I can't even like fit into like one leg, you know, they're definitely in the donate pile. And I'm like, yes, you know, I made it out. But in my situation, it lasted so long. And then when him and I ended, it was like, oh my gosh, like my anxiety is so low. Like I'm not even throwing up. I'm doing so good. But then it would be a month of no puking and then I would eat something and I would throw up. And you're frustrated because you're like, oh, I thought it was the anxiety. Like I tried this, I tried that. And then your stomach's irritated. And so for me, it was just this like month after month and I had started a new job and you can't work out. And then you're upset because you're like, oh my gosh, like this isn't me. Like I don't feel like myself. Like I know for you, like we're both very athletic people. And if we just can't work out, we can't go on a walk or do anything without feeling sick, like we don't even feel like ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so I know that was just like the surface of my story and we can dive deeper too, but like just walk us through a bit of like your current experience because when did you find out about this, I guess?
So I found out about it like at the end of last summer. And it explains so much because when you have this, you can't eat any red meat. And I grew up on a beef cattle ranch. So like, it's like
so tough.
Yeah.
And we're going to be like funny about it. Not your story, but like you have to have some humor inside.
For sure.
All the craziness.
Yes. Yeah, true. So like we were eating hamburgers and steak every single night. Like it is not uncommon. That's just what I grew up on. And so eating all of that, it was like constantly irritating my body. And so now I know that I have to stay away from it. I have to eat like fish, chicken, which
you seem really excited about it.
Yeah. I don't mind fish, but it's not my favorite.
Right.
And I like chicken, but I'm eating so much of it. And so like I try to really be thankful, like God, thank you that I can still eat chicken because if not, like I seriously would be really sad.
Yeah.
But even
can you eat like turkey or pork and stuff like that?
Not pork, but I can eat turkey. And I just make a joke at my house, like nothing with hooves. I can't eat anything with hooves.
That's funny.
Yeah, and so
you get like really crazy and try like frogs and
yeah, get some frog legs or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could definitely do that.
That could be like a fun content thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm too scared all the time though. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'll like it. And then I went to all this work, you know.
Right.
But I mean,
me cooking every day.
Yeah. So anyway, and then also dairy affects me. Like, it doesn't always affect everybody, but I have found it's just literally trial and error with everything.
Yeah.
And so I found that dairy really does kind of upset my stomach. I'm like, I've been itching today. I can feel the bruises on my legs, which is so sad because like just when I get healed up, sometimes I'm like really careful and I get completely healed, and then I'll eat something that says it doesn't have dairy in it, but it's just it's snuck into everything, it feels like. And so yeah, I mean, it's okay. Like and I at least have an appetite, and I'm thankful for that, because not having an appetite was kind of scary. I would just like forget to eat a lot of times, and I don't like that. Like I don't like the thought of just not eating completely. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, that's good insight, and I think that is so tough. Like, it is so tough to like navigate what you can eat, and then especially like the being healed part. Like, that's the most frustrating part, is when you get like so many days, you're like, okay, maybe I should just like try to integrate it again, and then it's like,
yeah, and it's not even like on purpose integrating it. I'm just like, oh yeah, I think I can eat this. It's chicken, but like, what's it coated in? And like, is it breaded? Like, I just have to be like so careful about it. And so that's kind of the frustrating part. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm eating chicken, it's fine. And then it's like, it's not fine.
And I'm not familiar with really too much information on the disease itself. Like, is there anything you can take or anything you can do really? Or?
So I've gotten, like, a lot of people have told me that you can get acupuncture and it's actually in your ear.
Interesting.
So strange. But there's been really good feedback on that. And
is it like, okay, and this is probably a super dumb question. So is it just like on the different areas of the cartilage of your ear, or like it's like in your ear?
I don't really know. I hate to say either way. I feel like I've seen it like in people's ear, but I don't want to say either way.
Because I know, like, I've had friends who have gotten like the piercings, like with like the tragus or whatever, to help with migraine. So I didn't know if like there's like, I don't really know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not really sure.
So we might see you with like a full coat of just like brand new earrings and stuff,
and like band-aids on my ears, so nothing affects it. I'm just kidding. Probably not that, but I think it's worth a shot. Like, that's something I really want to try this summer when my schedule slows down just a little bit, or even hopefully in the next couple of months, even if I'm still in school. So yeah, it's worth a shot. And that's like the most I've heard from people.
So the acupuncture can just like get rid of it. Is that what what they're saying?
I
or
think over time, and it's not like everybody, but it has like really good reviews on most people, like 90-something%. So that's don't amazing. Know. I like to think I'm part of that group.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, circling back on my situation I know for me the hardest thing was I was like, I literally don't know what this is. Like, I had just stomach pain. Certain foods was making me really sick, and then obviously the anxiety element. And I think that was the most frustrating part. Was I was like, I'm throwing up so much. Like, do I have cancer? Like, is there like, you know, all this acid in my throat? Like, so we got to a point where I kind of pleaded with my parents, and I was like, I need to get a scope done. Like, I'm so freaked out. I don't know what's going on. Is this an ulcer? Like, what's happening? Like, I'm missing work. I can't do anything. I'm depressed. Like, it just, all of this stuff, like, right? And you just feel like you're so alone in it. And it, whenever, like, now, 24 now, and like being in my life now, and I'm like, oh, I forget. I'm like, bro, be thankful for your health, because 2 years ago, you know, you were just massively going through it. And so I had gotten a scope done, and when they had put me on a month before that, a medicine called sulcrafate. And basically what that does is you take it on an empty stomach. It's a huge pill, and it like heals ulcers. So amazing for me, because I was like, I don't have to eat, and then I can take it, and then whatever. And I felt a lot better. Like, it really helped my like puking, and like it like coats your stomach, because people take like omeprazole a lot for like acid reflux, but sometimes it just people can get immune to it if you take it so much. And so whatever. But yeah, I had the scope done. They said my results were all clear, all the things. But then when I got the test back and nobody walked me through the results, frustrating. But it was high kind of against gluten and also lactose. And so, which is interesting to me, because really it's like, okay, I've cut out things that were toxic in my life. I've made a clear boundary. I lived that because literally any anxiety makes me stressed. It makes me throw up. I've thrown up in multiple work bathrooms. I used to have this is super messed up, but like I've thrown up in so many weird places that I thought it'd be funny to do like, like I don't even know, like a series or something. Yeah, I've thrown up like in a bag one time while driving, and my mom was holding the bag, and she has a stomach of steel. Like I've just thrown up so many wacky, like really weird places, but slay. But yeah. Anyway, so it's like now I feel healed. I mean, I've gone to prayer nights. I really feel like I'm healed from it. And there's certain things where it's like I've like slowly incorporated more like milk products, but there's certain things where it's like wheat bread, can never have it. I will still throw up. Just literally just plain milk, I will still throw up. And that's where, okay, but I have peace in knowing what I can't have. And now I just like kind of monitor what I can. And it's been a long journey, but we were just talking about our stories and really understanding, okay, there's so many things that, our experiences of what people... One thing about me is that I don't play games unless it's ping pong at Classics Yard. Classics Yard is Springfield's #1 social sport and game center. It is located in the back of Classic Rock Coffee Company headquarters and next door to the Riff. Coffee, sports, music, what more could you want? Located at 1900 West Sunset Street in Springfield, Missouri. Be sure to check them out, play some games, and reserve your event today. Visit www.classicsyard.com. We'll like talk about and how they comment and people's opinions. And I think, it's important to kind of dive into that too and whatnot. So, because I mean, you're basically, what is it, like a year and a half at this point of having this now?
No, so like coming up on a year.
Coming up on a year. Okay.
Yeah, after this summer, yeah.
Gotcha. And so you've kind of been learning what foods you can have, but it sounds like you're still in it right now. And obviously like working out and all of that's been a huge effect. Can you talk about like how your family has helped support or, what that looks like right now for you?
So my family is everything to me. And like my parents, they can tell, like just by looking at me, if I've dropped even like a pound or two, my mom will be like, Sadie, go get on the scale. Have you lost weight? And like, not because she's trying to like make me feel any certain way, but at the same time, she's wanting to protect me. And like, I'm thankful for that. And I'm glad that she can tell because like, I look at myself every day in the mirror. So like, I might not see my pounds dropping, but they firsthand did see it. And so they were constantly monitoring me on that, which I mean, at times it really was frustrating because like, they'd be like, you just need to eat a little bit more. And like, yes, I do.
But when you have
like,
no appetite.
Yeah, if I'm not hungry, like it doesn't make me feel good. And especially like when we didn't know what it was and they'd be like, are you eating? And I'm like, not a lot because I'm not hungry. And like, honestly, like I feel sick after I eat. Well, come to find out, I there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Like there was a reason for everything. And so they've definitely helped me through it. And like my mom was sweet enough to go with me to the appointment because like not knowing what you have is really scary. And whenever I was shedding all the weight so quickly, it did get to a really scary point. And so she was just like with me and she would pray with me a lot. And that to me is more than anything that anybody could do because I mean, I've gone through so much with my parents. Like I have a really long health history. And so I feel like they've been put through trauma almost as much as I have because they've had to see me go through it. And so just their prayer and just consistency with me to keep me on track, like make sure that I am doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. And my mom, she really helps me like find meals that are good for me now. And so that's so big to me because I don't always have time to look up
sick of this chicken.
Sick of this chicken. And I don't always have time to like look up every single ingredient and like I mean it's definitely important. And so like she just helps me with that too.
That's awesome. I'm gonna ask you a deep question here. Okay. So and of course we don't have to get deep with it, but it's like for me, I'm obviously an emotional person, and emotional and proud. But you know, I think in my own relationship with God, there's been so many things that like me and God are tight, but we fight. You know, that's you know, we argue, like we chat it up because that's a real relationship, right? It's not every day I'm like, yes, sir, you're, you know, I'm always like, why not? Why can't I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And so it's like, you know, you mentioned you grew up having a lot of health issues and, you know, your parents having to be there and like, that's obviously hard on them too. And so being, you know, at the age that you are now, were you ever like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, how do I have this again? Like mentally, like how were you angry? Like what were you, you know, feeling in that moment?
Yeah. A lot of it's just like, why again? Like, whenever I was 18 months old, I was insanely sick. Like I was in the hospital, barely any chance to live, kidney failure. I don't have large intestines anymore. So like just growing up, like having to be careful what I'm eating then anyway. And now I have to be extra careful, drink even more water. But like even in college, I tore my ACL and meniscus twice. And like, then it was like, oh God, why is this happening to me? Like, I just feel like I was finally becoming an upperclassman. It just stunk. The timing was horrible. And then it happened again my senior year. And I'm like, and I used that time to really get close to God because I do think that I was a little bit depressed during that time because it's something that I had practiced my whole entire life. And then all of a sudden, like it was stripped from me. And it's just hard because all your best friends are getting to do it and make their way up the ladder and you just like feel hopeless. And then we got a new coach. And so like I couldn't prove myself to him. So in that season, it was also like, why is this happening to me twice? Like I'm having to sit out so much. And then I got sick last summer multiple times. And so it's just like, what is going on inside my body? Like, why can't I just be healed and be done with it?
Yeah.
But I know that there's a reason and there's a purpose behind all our pain. And one of my favorite people to listen to is Ed Milet. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but
I haven't.
Okay, he's amazing. And he always says you are most qualified to help the person you once were. And so
that's good.
Honestly, that's why I posted about Alpha Gal, because if there's anybody who's going through this same...
And there's a lot.
Right.
I
like
know
it's so much more common than I realized at first. And so if I can just help one person by posting that and let them know that like they are not alone in this feeling, just hopeless, like you can't have all the food that you want, you know, or like the constant struggle of your physical or mental well-being. Like it's okay. You're not the only one going through it. I might feel like it, but you're really not. And so that is the main reason that I wanted to post, because you never know who you can help just by being a little bit vocal. And like not only that, but like social media is such a highlight reel, and it's like so easy to get caught up into comparing your worst days to everybody's highlight days. And so that was another big one for me. Like I was scrolling through my Instagram and I'm like, man, I'm just like really, I don't know. I kind of felt convicted because it looked like my life was perfect on there, and it's not. Like I go through struggles just like everybody else does. And I think it's important to share that to help the person that I once was, I am right now. So that's good. Was important to me.
I appreciate you sharing that. And I know even for myself, like it's so crazy to how people, even myself, like I compare pain, right? I'm like, well, I was never abused and I was never this. And so really like, how can I get on my podcast and whine about blah, 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 when like I haven't even had it bad, but like everyone goes through their own pain and it affects them in their own way. And just recently I've been so grateful for the massive amounts of like my puking problem while going through double heartbreak, right? In a season where I felt very alone. And I remember I also clung to God. Like I needed air because it just was like such an isolating, broken season. And I look now and in my mind, I'm like, I experienced a deep amount of pain in a certain season when it was back to back and I didn't know what to do. And so now when I meet someone, we may not have any type of similar stories, but I'm like, hey, I felt this really bad pain. You felt really bad pain. In a weird way, it's like I see you and I feel you, you know? And so it's, in a weird way, it makes me feel like I can relate better. And I have met people that have also been in my situation. And so what you've been talking about with sports and these injuries and this time of depression, have you seen any of that help impact anyone yet? Like when you said you're walking in your purpose, have you already seen, just seeing that fruition from that?
Yeah, I definitely have. Whenever I posted about Alpha-Gal, I had several people reach out and be like, hey, I'm going through it too. Here are some things that helped me. Thanks for sharing. And so to me, that was cool because it's like, oh, they enjoyed that I shared it, but also they helped me in the process.
That's good.
And not only that, but
also been on the podcast. I'm playing. I'm so annoying.
But also, after I went through all those injuries, I went through a lot of heartbreak, not necessarily in like a relationship with a boyfriend in college, but with the injuries, I felt really alone. And so I started after, I think it was my senior year, my junior and senior year, I just felt so sad. So I started journaling. And then I was like, what if I just make this series called To the Athlete? And I started journaling about all the happy, sad, horrible emotions that an athlete might feel. Like, not even just with injuries, like when you get benched, when you've been playing good all year, when you get, I don't know, just anything. Like if you're just having a bad day,
right?
Even if you just have a bad practice, like those things happen, and it's like how you move on from those. And so it was a good way for me to cope, but also hopefully someday I can make them into like a little devotional to release to
love
athletes.
that.
And so I did get to share that. My mom, she is a dental hygienist, and she has so many awesome patients. I don't know any of them, but she can tell me their stories, and like I love hearing their stories. And there was one in particular. She is in high school and she tore her ACL, and so I was like, okay, this is a really good opportunity to practice what I have gone through these last several years. And so I sent her my to the injured athlete, and she was like, you have no idea how much this helped me. I've read it several times.
That's good.
So like to me it was worth it. Like I had just a sick feeling in my stomach sending it to her, because it's like I felt like I was reliving it all over again. And you can also gain so much perspective, and I got really thankful because she's in high school. Yeah. And I at least got the opportunity to play in college. Like, I hope that she still does. But like, mine didn't happen my senior year of high school. I was literally in college. So I don't know. There's just so much to be thankful for, even just based off of that. So hopefully that helped her in the long run. She continues to grow and gain perspective through her experience too.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, people give, what is the next generation after us? Isn't it Gen Alpha?
I don't even know.
I have to Google it. But like, people,
getting hot talking about
you're good. You're good. I know. We're out here. No, but like, people really give, let's just say it's Gen Alpha, because I'm like 85% sure it's Gen Alpha, because I'm Gen Z and then there's Gen Alpha. So people give Gen Z and Gen Alpha a bad rap because we're on our phones and we made our own language, like period,
Kinda smart of us.
I know, like we're like, don't talk to me. I'm gonna make my own language. Like people are just like, oh, they're so lazy, they're so this, and it's like, actually no, like we're hustlers in our own way. Like I really feel like Gen Z and Gen Alpha are brilliant. We're paving this new way where it's like, okay, maybe I don't need to work in an office 8 to 5 like every single day. Like I'm getting stuff done at night in an airport, in a coffee shop, whatever. Like I just feel like things are changing, and I really feel like too, revival is really happening. There's so many young people that are so hungry. They just need someone to often like inspire, encourage them, speak life into them. And it's like, oh my gosh, you're always on your phone. Okay, well, what are you doing on your phone? What are you building? Like, what are you creating? And I don't know. I'll just see like younger people, and they're 18 and they have businesses and they have all these things, and it's so impressive, and everyone has their own story and their own journey, but I'm like, speak life into the younger generation, speak purpose into them, and it's important to me, and it matters. And so I think that's so amazing that like even my own brother, he had gotten injured in high school, and I think he wanted to go the college route, and I've seen how that's affected him. And so it's like, your story, and then being able to like physically create something that actually is, you could literally give to someone is amazing. So
I think it's really powerful. And like we're adapting to the technology that's being built by the generation ahead of us. Like, it's not like we're just on purpose doing it. Like, we're given these tools, and like a lot of people are doing, like, granted, there are a lot of people not using these tools valuable as well as they could be, but like there are a ton of people who are like starting online businesses. It's like such a great way to advertise yourself. It's a free resource. Like we're using it. And so, I'm with you on the train of speak life into the next generation.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. So talking to a little bit about, you know, during your season of whatever, like obviously you have alpha gal, and like in my situation, I had a very active puking problem and very high anxiety. For me now, like it's really big on balancing it. I don't struggle with anxiety every single day, but in a moment, like I call it circumstantial anxiety, but like when I have a moment of anxiety, it's like huge, and it's easy for me to like get into like an anxiety attack or like something like that. Like it's like 0 to 100. And so at the time when I was at my lowest points, you know, people just feel like they're okay to comment on your body. And it's like such a hard place that we live in sometimes because, you know, girls get surgeries because they want people to look at certain parts of their bodies. Like girls want to be the hottest chick in the room. They want people to like look at them and their body and be fit. On the flip side, it's like, okay, yeah, I want to look good. Notice my body. But on the flip side, it's like, okay, like when I was at my lowest, I would go into certain workplaces or like the mall and whatever, and people would be like, it wouldn't be like, oh, girl, you're fit, you look good. It was like, girl, eat a sandwich. Like, when was the last time you ate? And that was their version of a compliment. Like, someone would be like, oh my gosh, like, do you even eat? You're so skinny, you're so skinny. And it's like, because you're thinner and you're female, it's like, you're so lucky, you're so privileged, it's okay. But if you're thicker, then it's like, oh, well, you can't not say that to that kind of, you know, that size of that body. And so it's just frustrating because it's like, whether I'm in a healthy place or not, it's really none of your business. And unless it's like a genuine compliment that's worded kindly, don't say it. And I don't know, stuff like that. Like I would have to distance myself. I would, you know, I want to communicate that, but then like, how do you say that without being a jerk? I don't know. It's like, so I think it's just hard, where one thing I would say is, if you're the daughter of someone going through a hard time, if you're the friend of someone going through a hard time, be so mindful of what you say. Like, would you really tell someone like, oh, should you really eat that burger? So then why are you telling me that I should eat one? You know, like, why would you say that? Like, either, you know, and so that's my perspective on, like, that was like the most frustrating part is we're already the hardest people on ourselves. So it's like someone else physically saying something makes it so much worse. And even though they shouldn't have that power over you, it's like, okay, guess what? Like, sticks and stones break my bones, words don't hurt me, but like they do. Like we all know they do.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I kind of went through the same thing. Like sometimes when people see me, they're like, "Oh, Sadie, girl, you're so skinny," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." Like I don't know to say thank you because it's not really a compliment to me. Like I've watched my body go through like this huge shift. And so like for people to be like, "Sadie, you're so skinny," I'm like, I know, like I don't need anybody else telling me. Like I can feel my pants getting too big. Like I was telling you the other day, like I bought new jeans because I had lost so much weight. And then like a few weeks later, all those new jeans that fit me so well literally were already too big. And so like it's just a thing, like I don't need anybody else to comment.
Like you need that button thing, you know, where you put like in the jean and you can create the new.
No, I should do that though.
Bro,
instead I have like this, my mom's belt from the 80s. It's like this little Western belt, and I'm like and it goes right up here because
it's perfect.
Yeah, it works out in the 80s.
No, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Shoot. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. There's something I was gonna say right there. You're talking about the
just being like so skinny and like
okay, now I remember now. Yeah. And the crazy thing too is that people are literally on Ozempic. Like people talk about all the time like Ozempic and like trying to get skinny, and like that's okay for them. Like if they want to do that, like rock on. So I just think it's so crazy how like girls are trying to get skinny so much, and yet people are still having the conversation of like, you look really skinny. Like I remember when I was a server, I would have people at the table who would take my hand and be like, "Are you okay? You look really thin." And while I appreciate them I'm like, I'm literally handing out your food to your entire table. Like, do you really, like, if I was like, I'm actually going through a really hard time, like, do you think I would tell you, like, right in that moment, like, pull me aside, tell me you love me, tell me that, you know, you want to be there for me, but, like, you got to understand that, like, I'd have conversations with people, and I'm like, I hate cooking. I don't really like eating. To me, it's a chore because I have to make sure I'm eating enough and like cooking enough, and like, and now it's gotten so much better. I still don't like to cook, but I do enjoy eating. So, but not even that much. Like, I'd rather just drink smoothies all day long. But you, like, that's what I'm saying is like, it really, like, once you have a situation where you're going through something like this, it is such a hard work muscle that you literally have to work at. And that's what, like, most people, I feel like, can't comprehend. I don't know your thoughts on that.
Yeah. And, like, I'm sure you experience your body shifting a lot. And so it's like, it is a chore. It's like, okay, you have to make sure that you're getting enough protein in and everything. Like, protein's so huge. Yeah, vitamins. Yeah, all the things. And it can be really hard. And, like, now it's like, okay, so I get protein powder, but it's really hard to find protein powder with no dairy or literally anything like that in it. So, yeah. So, yeah, it does kind of feel like a chore, but honestly, like, thank God that we live in the U.S. where we can pick around those things. And we do have options. Like, it just makes me so thankful for where I'm at. And that's kind of what I always go to whenever I feel like, oh my gosh, why are these people saying that to me? Like, no, Lord, thank you that I at least feel good now. Like, that I do have people reaching out to me that are trying to help me. Like, they're trying to make me aware. Thank you that there's people in my life that are comfortable enough to do that and think that they're helping. Although
that's good. Sadie's better than me.
No, I don't. That's not why I said it at all. But like, anytime I go through this pity party, I just have to just sit down and journal all the things I'm thankful for, because it really puts my life in perspective. Like, my family, they're looking out for me. My friends, they're looking out for me. So, yeah,
that's good.
I just have to do that, because sometimes it does get out of hand. And, like, I think that's where the enemy really likes to creep in on me, is like making me, my physical, change my inner, you know, like, that's
emotional.
That's not what defines me as a person. Like, I know where I came from. I know whose I am. Yeah. And so it's just, that is one piece that the enemy really likes to pick at me. Yeah. And so just being really thankful, it just kind of gets my mind off of like me. And it's like, okay, what are all the things around me that are really keeping me going, you know?
That is so good. And one thing my Queen Eva, my bestie, she'll say too, like, whenever I spiral, it's typically like, it's not just like, tonight at work. It'll be like, tonight at work, yesterday, last week, 4 years ago, 18, like, she's like, whenever you're having a bad day, it's like everything in the entire world could be bad. And then it's like every insecurity I've ever had comes out. And it's always like that top three things. And then that's how I know it's like the enemy trying to come at me. Cause I'm like, why am I thinking I'm second best? Like, why am I thinking that I'm this? Why am I thinking that I'm that? Like, this is so over with. And that's why you're so right. Like, identifying in that moment, like, okay, this is probably not from God. Like, this is not who I am. I know who I am. And I think that's huge, because all these things in the world are going to try to tell you what you are and what you're not and where you lack. And it's a lie. Yeah. And so to see God, like, I know in my journey, having that puking problem for 2 years, I really didn't think it was ever going to go away. And then now being here, like, eating so many things, feeling healthier and whatnot, and there's certain things that like are better, and there's certain things I still struggle with. And like, I don't know what your journey is going to look like and what God has in store for you, but like, you're covered, and he has a plan and he's enough. Yeah. And so just kind of navigating like, okay, even though this feels awful, I have everything I need when I have God. And so good. I don't know.
Well, even like going back and thinking of my life backwards, I'm like, okay, God healed me when I was 18 months old. God healed me whenever I was in kindergarten. God healed me when I was in college. Like, what is it that's making me think God won't do it?
That's good.
Yeah, like, the enemy, like, tries to creep in through other people who we love and who love us, but, like, he's so sneaky. He shouts, God whispers, you know, like, and so I just have to keep that in mind. Like, God did it for me before, he'll do it again. And so, like, whenever I get really stressed out about it, like, I just can't, because it's not the truth, you know?
And one way that I struggle is like, I already, like, in my own season, say I'm going through whatever, it's like, I already know God's got the plan. And it's crazy because I had the same exact thought as you. Because I was like, man, you know, I didn't know where I was going to go to college when I was 18, and like all these things, like, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. And like, God has always, like, I knew, I was like, okay, I know God has a plan. Like, shut your face. Like, when has he ever not?
Right.
But I think sometimes the scary part is like, okay, when is it going to go into effect? Like, when, you know?
Yeah.
But that's where you still have to trust God in that too. And
Yeah.
you're like, okay, you can't trust God and then have anxiety about the waiting time. Like, you got to put your full trust in him and then just vibe out. Like, I don't know. Like, it's such a Gen Z way of saying it.
Yes, just vibe out.
Vibe, you guys. Just like, have you considered vibing? My
If
gosh.
I'm worried, I'm just going to be like, vibe, girl.
Yeah, seriously. All day long.
That's so good. There was something I was going to say about that. Oh, shoot. Oh,
We're both on this wavelength tonight.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, as long as you're consistently doing the things that you know are in God's will, you are spending time with the Lord, you're making friends with people who need Christ, or like who do have Christ and can feed into you. Like, if you're doing the small things every day, you're gonna fall into God's will. And even if you go a different route, like, he will still turn it into something so beautiful. Yeah. And like, thinking of my life backwards, like, I keep saying that, but like, it's just so shocking. Like, if I wouldn't have gone to Evangel, I wouldn't have met you. If you wouldn't have picked Evangel,
your life would have been so much better.
No, because look how much fun
I know, we're having such a blast. Yeah. We're just vibing so hard. I'm just sorry. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. But like, even if you wouldn't have picked Evangel, like, we would not be here. Like, I wouldn't have been parking downtown and feeling like I'm going to hit some skateboarders. No. You know, like, those are like the things that I'm going to remember, like, just small things like that. I don't know why I keep these weird logs in my mind of things that are not important, but I'm thankful for them because like, there were so many other things that we could have done besides Evangel and even
Sagu. I'm playing.
Sagu was not an option for me, but
I didn't even know it was a thing until a couple years ago. So.
Okay, there you go. But I'm so grateful. Like, it all worked out perfectly. Even like my senior year of high school, I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go to school, but like, it really worked out. I made so many great relationships, and I think it was just it was in the small details of every day. Like, I worked my tail off every single day. After cross country, I would go put up at least 200 shots. Like,
wow. Oh my gosh, queen.
Well, and like, in those small, like, I really didn't want to, but every single day when you take those steps, like, I was following in his footsteps because I was working really hard, and God honors that. And so just so many things fell into place. So just being consistent in the small things, and
That's
like,
good.
There's no reason to have anxiety about our future, even though I do. Like, I just know he'll take care of me. Like, and that's why I think it's important that we do, like, take time out, go on a walk, grounding, earthing, do some earthing, and it like just kind of resets your perspective on like, okay, what's really important in this life? Like, is this ultimately going to determine if I'm where I'm going, where somebody else is going? Like, that's truly the most important thing.
That's so good. And I mean, truly, like, I never thought I was going to be doing a podcast after college. Like, once I left and graduated, I was like, the radio show is done. I'm going to go to Greece. Sayonara. And then, but now I think about like just the best friends I've even made and met and reconnected with and whatnot in the past 6 months, in the past year. It's like the things that God, even in our small group, like just the things that's been going on, like that. I don't know, like, I wouldn't have gone through things that I've gone through, and these people I wouldn't have met. Like, so much happens for a reason. And I know too, like, even though I want all these things right now, maybe it's not the right time, maybe it's not part of God's plan. And just kind of like having peace in that too. So one thing I want to ask you is, what's your advice to anyone who has alpha gal right now and is maybe struggling or like having a hard time figuring out like foods to eat? Like, what would you encourage them?
Yeah, well, of course you can reach out to me, but also there are so many like Facebook groups, there's books. I know that people have written books here in Missouri about like cookbooks of alpha gal meals that you can make, and you can look up so many awesome things on the internet. And then obviously, like if you want the immediate help, try getting like appointments with the acupuncture people. So yeah. I mean,
she's like,
I haven't tried it, but
buy one, get one free. Like,
yeah, I haven't done it, but I'm trusting that it works because everybody said it does. So like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it does for everybody that I'm talking to. But yeah, there's so many things that can help the people now. Like we are very aware of what's going on now. So
very cool, very cool. And then we're like coming up on time. I have a few girly pop questions before we end every show, of course. So one, let's get into your love life. Like single, married, or complicated. Like what's the vibe?
So I have a boyfriend. His name is Eli. Yeah, we love him. So he plays baseball at Evangel. He's
very
2
cool.
years younger than me, so I'm just chilling till he gets out of school so we can get hitched and, get our life started. So, yeah, exciting things, but also just trying to slow down and really enjoy this time because I know we'll look back and be like, we dated for a long time, but we made the best of it. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. That's the focus, is just making the best of it. So, yep, he's precious.
And there's so many fun growing moments in the waiting is what I find.
True. That's so true.
What is a fun fact about yourself, Sadie?
So
the weirder, the better.
Okay. I showed you this the other day, but I feel like this is really unique about me. After I had all of my surgeries and stuff when I was little, I have a really big scar across my stomach, a mole, and another star, and then my belly button in the middle, and it makes a perfect smiley face.
It's so cute.
Thank you. So yeah, that's my girl Tammy on my stomach. So I just kind of flex her sometimes. I'm like, hey, be happy.
That's like your party trick.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, everybody, let's wink. Okay.
Oh my god.
And I'll lean to the side and show wink. So yeah, that's kind of a weird fact about me.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
But also my testimony. So thank you, Lord.
Yes, so good, so good. And I know we talked a lot about just everything God's doing. The difficult moments, the joy that comes. Obviously you're a Christian and you love God. What are things that really help produce joy or moments you have with him throughout this season or just in general? I mean, even when you went through, your injuries.
Yeah. Thankfulness, gratefulness, just over and over, just thanking the Lord for everything because we really do have it so good. And then also, I like to look back at pictures of happier times. Like, I have so many pictures on my phone, and I'm like, why do I keep all these? But they just make me happy. Yeah. And it just, like, reminds me of how awesome.
It's all just, like, a 4-ounce steak in your camera roll. Like, that's how you're looking at.
I'm like, that filet. Happier times. No, I'm just kidding. But, like, it really does. I love looking back at pictures and just happy times documented. And let's see, what else? Sometimes just putting on some good music will just get me in a better mood,
Yeah.
So those are my big three. And then just hanging out with my family. They are always so positive and they've helped me through so much. So I think just getting encouragement from them too.
That's good. That's good. Obviously, as a star basketball queen, do you have a favorite team/player?
I used to, but honestly, I don't really keep up with it anymore. I'm so bad.
Are you like a college or like an NBA person?
I like college more now.
Okay.
Yeah, I get a little bit frustrated with the NBA stuff because I don't know. I see walks all the time, and I'm like, that's not good basketball. There's no defense, and it just bothers me. So,
Talk your talk.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a fan of Russell Westbrook. I've loved him forever. And then, I mean, how can you not respect Caitlin Clark? She's such a beast, in the college world. So, yeah, those are my two that I'm really just watching right now. So
that's good. That's good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sadie, for coming on the podcast. You're such a joy. You're so cute. Like,
thank you.
You know, and then obviously we end every show the same way here on Giving Up a Cash. We like consistency on this podcast. Favorite song, favorite quote, and what do you want your legacy to be?
Okay, so favorite song right now?
Yeah, it can be all time, or it can be like the first thing that's on Apple Music when you go, we're Apple Music people here.
So I'm kind of on a country kick right now. Okay. And so Lainey Wilson's my girl. So
I love Lainey Wilson. Okay. She's a queen.
I love her. So Wildflowers and Wild Horses is my karaoke song right now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, love her.
I always got to do Miley Cyrus Flowers for karaoke, typically with Kenan.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so bring back karaoke.
So good.
Quote.
Okay, quote. I brought my notebook with me because right now I love this quote. Let's see. Okay.
Also, Sadie's notebook is so cute. Like her handwriting. Oh my gosh, I could never.
I think that's so nice because I was thinking like I can't really
like
read
it's adorable.
Okay, so I don't even know who said this, but it's, why would you choose to see yourself through the eyes of your enemy? What if God is trying to use your enemies to show how valuable you are? So love that quote. So good. Like I said, don't know who said it. Wish I did.
I think that's to give them credit. And even like, this is probably like a completely wrong way to take that, but sometimes it's like when people come back after things end or whatever. Even like this girl I was talking to, you know, she's telling me she's like younger, she's so cute and whatnot. And she's like, my ex blah, and he has this new girl and blah. And I was like, girl, just stop giving him anything because he, you know, wants you and all these things and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, you know your worth. You know, stop letting these people, your enemy or whatever, your past, like try to have this hold on you when sometimes the people that are most jealous of you just want to tear you down. And it's like, let God do them, you know, let it go.
Yeah, so. I think, I don't think there's a wrong way to interpret that. Like, it's how it best relates to you. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
That's good. It's good, Sadie.
Thank you. And then,
you're welcome. I'm just kidding. I'm like awkward RS. Like,
it's okay. I was just thinking, so it's fine.
Rose is the ADHD quick thought, but like as a fun fact, like my 6th birthday was at a Toys R Us. Like it is like a fever dream. I remember like vaguely. This is totally off topic, but like I just remembered randomly the other night that like I literally, my parents, shout out to my parents, Jeff and Debbie, love you guys. That was a great birthday. It was Barbie themed. There's like a back room at a Toys R Us. This sounds awful. This sounds really bad. And it was like a event center room. What we like the activity they had was Jeffrey the giraffe. Because there's Toys R Us. There used to be ones here, right?
Yeah, we used to have one.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Because we had them in Green Bay, and like the event was the big giraffe would like take us around the store and we like look at all the toys, and then we came back and had cake and we colored, and it was awesome. It was Barbie themed, yeah. But sorry, that was just like a weird fun fact.
I enjoyed
I'm a big
learning
birthday
more about
person.
Yeah, we should be celebrated. Yeah.
Yes, birthdays are so good.
Yeah.
When is your birthday?
It's August 29th.
Ooh, that's exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah, I honestly forget how old I am all the time. Like,
so how old are you right now?
So it's year 2023. I'm 23.
Rock on.
It shouldn't be hard. I was born in 2000, but some reason I went to the doctor the other day and I was like, yeah, I'm 22. And I was like, I'm not actually, though. I'm 23.
No, I totally get that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm too young to be forgetting my age, but I guess not.
Well, I'm going to be 25, and 24 freaked me out. But now I'm 24, and I'm like, I'm 24. Like, I'm so young. But 25, I still feel like a 19-year-old, but I'm also like, oh my gosh, you're 25. Like,
I feel that. I'm like, I got to grow up sometime. Like, let's grow up and do big girl things, but it's
I know,
okay.
it's crazy. So, wow. Okay. Legacy. What do you want your legacy to be when you're gone and people remember, oh, that Sadie Chisum girl, like, what is she?
Yeah. I think I just want to be known as a great friend, somebody people can open up to, talk to. I know I value those people in my life a lot, and I think that's one thing that brought us together is just being able to listen to each other. And so I really want to be known as, and it's something that is definitely work in progress. I'm not always the greatest listener. And so
I think you're pretty good.
Thanks. I do want to be known as like such a great friend, somebody who's always there.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much, Sadie, for coming on the podcast and being vulnerable and sharing part of your heart and your story on the pod.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you. What would you say would be like your Yelp review? I'm just kidding.
It was so good.
4.5 stars because the host wasn't wearing shoes. Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I was too scared to take mine off. I was like, it's been a long day.
No, you're good. I just was like, I definitely sprayed my feet before you got here with perfume, but because I was like, I need to take a break. Anyways, thank you so much for coming on. You guys can find Sadie. Yeah, plug everything. Your social media, all your businesses. Plug it again.
Okay, so Sadie Design, .23. Yeah, .23. And then that's my little side gig. My main account is Sadie_Chisum. So yeah, you can catch me on either of those accounts. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And to my listeners, love you guys per usual. If you're listening to this, that means last week the merch pre-order dropped and that's happening this week. So we're super duper excited. Life is crazy. So many fun things in the timeline, but please pray for me because figuring everything out are us. But God is good and it's awesome. I mean, I feel like I'm in a place where I'm very anxiety free, leading with God, leading with love. But it's like you don't know what you're driving with your eyes closed is what it feels like, and all you have is what you hear on the map. And that's how I feel that my faith is. It's like God's like, turn left, turn right. I'm like, okay, but like, where the heck are we going? I don't know how to drive. I'm not a good driver. And he's like, your destination is in 5 minutes. like that's where I'm at right now. But I love you guys. Follow all the social media things. Subscribe to YouTube. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your man, tell your girl, and remember to always keep on keeping up with cash. Okay, love you. Bye.